The Lotus Method, ancient wisdom for modern focus. Have you ever felt like your mind is a battlefield where your best intentions are constantly defeated by distractions? What if an ancient Eastern practice could transform your scattered thoughts into laser-sharp focus, allowing you to finally achieve those goals that always seem just out of reach? Imagine having the mental clarity of a Zen master while navigating our chaotic modern world. This forgotten technique might be the missing piece you've been searching for. Part 1. Gohan's struggle with resistance. Your brain is constantly distracted. Notifications, deadlines, and a never-ending to-do list are pulling you in a million directions, fragmenting your attention and depleting your mental energy. In this digital age, maintaining focus has become perhaps our greatest challenge. Yet it's also the key to unlocking our true potential and achieving meaningful success. Meet Gohan, a man full of potential. Much like you, he has big dreams and clear goals, getting fit, excelling in his career, and improving his personal relationships. But despite his ambitions, something invisible yet powerful holds him back every time he attempts to take decisive action. Does this sound familiar? It's not that Gohan lacks motivation or information. Quite the opposite. He devours motivational videos, listens to inspiring podcasts, and reads countless self-improvement books. His knowledge about what he should be doing is impressive, yet when the moment arrives to actually take action, his mind seems to have other plans. Instead of working toward his goals, he finds himself scrolling mindlessly through social media, watching just one more video, or suddenly remembering less important tasks that somehow feel more urgent. Gohan has fallen into a frustrating cycle of procrastination and self-doubt that seems impossible to break. The most disheartening part, he's fully aware of what's happening. He can observe himself avoiding important work in real time, yet feels powerless to change course. His self-awareness only adds another layer of frustration, knowing exactly what's happening but unable to stop it. This isn't just Gohan's problem, it's a universal human experience. Our minds are naturally wired to avoid discomfort and seek pleasure. Every time we face a challenge that feels difficult or unfamiliar, our brain sends powerful signals directing us towards something easier and more comfortable. Social media, games, snacks, even daydreaming. These aren't just random distractions but sophisticated defense mechanisms our mind employs to protect us from potential discomfort. Gohan feels like he's constantly battling himself, and no matter how much motivational content he consumes, the effect never lasts. The temporary inspiration eventually fades, leaving him back where he started. Through this painful cycle, he's beginning to realize that he needs something deeper than fleeting motivation. He needs a fundamental shift in how his mind operates. In Eastern philosophy, particularly in Buddhist teachings, the mind is often compared to a wild monkey, jumping frantically from one branch, thought, to another, never settling, always avoiding anything that feels challenging or uncomfortable. The Buddha himself once said, "Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts." This profound insight perfectly describes Gohan's predicament. His own mind has become his greatest obstacle, constantly sabotaging his efforts to grow and improve. The ancient monks weren't just philosophers. They were practical psychologists who developed sophisticated methods to tame this monkey mind, bringing it into a state of focus, clarity, and calmness. They understood that the battle Gohan faces isn't unique to our modern era, but is fundamental to the human condition. The mind, by its very nature, resists challenges. It prefers safety, comfort, and familiarity, evolutionary traits that once protected us but now often hold us back. Eastern teachings, especially those that influence the Lotus Method, show us that this resistance isn't something to fight against with brute force. Instead, the first crucial step is awareness. Why does the mind resist? Because it seeks to protect us from potential discomfort, uncertainty, and failure. But once we understand this protective mechanism, we can begin to shift this dynamic. This awareness is the foundation of the Lotus Method. Before attempting to change the mind, you must first understand it. For Gohan, this realization brings immense relief. His mind isn't broken or uniquely flawed. It's functioning exactly as human minds have for thousands of years. The first step isn't to fight his mind or force it to behave differently. It's simply to observe its patterns with compassionate awareness. When Gohan becomes truly aware of his mind's resistance patterns, he stops trying to bulldoze through them with willpower alone. Instead, he acknowledges the protective role his mind plays and observes these tendencies without harsh judgment. This shift from fighting to observing is a core principle of the Lotus Method. Before you can transform your thoughts, you must first become aware of them. But awareness, while powerful, is only the beginning of the journey. Now that Gohan has seen his mind for what it truly is, not an enemy but a protective force that sometimes overreaches, how does he move forward? The next phase of the Lotus Method teaches him how to release the grip of resistance and flow with his thoughts rather than against them, opening the door to effortless action and sustainable progress. Part 2. Embracing the flow of life. Gohan realizes that his old methods, forcing himself to work harder, using sheer willpower to push through resistance, simply aren't producing lasting results. This recognition leads him to search for deeper wisdom, something beyond the typical just do it mentality that dominates modern productivity advice. During his search, Gohan discovers the teachings of Lao Tzu, the ancient philosopher of Taoism whose insights have guided seekers for over 2.500 years. One concept particularly captures his attention: Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, the art of moving with life instead of fighting against it. One of Lao Tzu's teachings resonates deeply with Gohan: by letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. This paradoxical wisdom initially confuses him. How could letting go possibly lead to accomplishing more? Isn't achievement all about pushing harder, doing more, and never giving up? But as he reflects on this ancient wisdom, Gohan begins to wonder if perhaps the reason he's been struggling so intensely is because he's been fighting against life and against his own nature. What if doing hard things wasn't about forcing himself through sheer willpower? What if there was an approach to challenges that didn't feel like constant internal warfare? The Lotus Method, deeply rooted in this Eastern philosophy, suggests something revolutionary yet simple. Perhaps the solution isn't to fight harder, but to stop fighting altogether. To find the natural flow that exists within effort itself, like a river that doesn't struggle to move downstream but simply follows its natural course, effortlessly overcoming obstacles in its path. Wu Wei teaches something that feels counterintuitive in today's hustle culture. By aligning with the natural flow of life rather than resisting it, we can actually accomplish more with less struggle. This isn't about becoming passive or giving up on our goals. Rather, it's about moving in harmony with life's natural rhythms instead of constantly swimming upstream. When we push too hard against our natural inclinations, life pushes back with equal force, creating that feeling of constant struggle that Gohan knows all too well. But when we align ourselves with life's current, we move forward with significantly less effort, achieving more while suffering less. As Gohan contemplates this wisdom, he begins to see that his constant battle to force his mind to work harder only makes it fight back more fiercely. The harder he pushes, the stronger the resistance becomes. A perfect illustration of another Taoist principle that whatever is contrary to Tao will not last long. By embracing this ancient wisdom, Gohan realizes it's possible to work on difficult tasks without creating internal resistance. Instead of viewing challenging work as an enemy to be conquered, he starts seeing it as part of life's natural flow, something to move with rather than against. Gohan begins applying Wu Wei in his daily life, instead of forcing himself through every difficult task with gritted teeth and white knuckles. He learns to approach them with a sense of ease and acceptance. When something challenging arises, whether it's a workout, a work project, or a personal challenge, he pauses and consciously reminds himself not to resist it. He accepts the difficulty as a natural part of life's flow, and in doing so, releases the inner struggle that once consumed so much of his energy. This shift in perspective makes his tasks feel lighter, not because they've become objectively easier, but because he's no longer adding the additional burden of resistance to them. Where once he battled constantly with himself to get things done, he now experiences a sense of calmness in the process. The work itself hasn't changed, but his relationship to it has transformed completely. This is the next crucial step in the Lotus Method: releasing resistance and finding harmony in effort. As Gohan continues practicing this approach, he notices something remarkable. Tasks that once felt impossibly difficult now seem manageable, not because they require less skill or effort, but because he's no longer wasting energy fighting himself before even beginning. The energy once spent on resistance is now available for the task itself. Now that Gohan has started to go with the flow of life rather than against it, he's ready for the next level of the Lotus Method, learning how to cultivate stillness and reflection to deepen his journey and access even greater levels of clarity and focus. Part 3: The Power of Stillness and Reflection. Gohan's journey continues as he searches for ways to quiet his restless mind and develop even deeper focus. His exploration leads him to Zen Buddhism and the transformative practice of Zazen, or sitting meditation, an ancient technique for cultivating profound mental clarity through stillness. At first glance, the practice seems deceptively simple, just sitting in silence, focusing on the breath. But as Gohan attempts it for the first time, he discovers just how challenging true stillness can be. His mind, accustomed to constant stimulation and activity, rebels against the quiet. Thoughts race, his body fidgets, and 5 minutes feels like an eternity. Gohan has always been taught that progress comes through action, that doing more is the solution to every problem. But as he studies the teachings of Zen Master Dogen, he encounters a profound insight that challenges his entire worldview. If you cannot find the truth right where you are, where else do you expect to find it? This teaching suggests something revolutionary, that the answers Gohan seeks aren't found in more activity, more information, or more striving, but in becoming still enough to see what's already there, like a glass of muddy water that clears when allowed to settle. Perhaps his mind only needs the space to become still. With persistent practice, Gohan begins to experience powerful shifts in his mental landscape. Instead of his thoughts feeling chaotic and scattered like leaves in a windstorm, they gradually begin to settle. The process reminds him of watching a lake disturbed by wind. When the wind stops, the water naturally returns to its clear, reflective state without any effort. In these moments of quiet reflection, something remarkable happens. Gohan starts to see his challenges for what they really are, not insurmountable obstacles, but opportunities for growth and self-discovery. The mental clarity that emerges from stillness allows him to distinguish between genuine obstacles and those created by his own thinking. Gohan realizes that his constant urge to do was precisely what made his mind so resistant to difficult tasks. By always being in motion, always reacting, he never gave himself the space to develop true clarity. In stillness, he discovers a sharpness and precision to his thoughts that he hadn't experienced before, like a sword that becomes keener through careful honing rather than constant use. Instead of rushing headlong into tasks and immediately encountering resistance, he now takes a step back, practices Zazen, and allows solutions and insights to arise naturally from this place of calm awareness. In the quiet, he discovers an inner strength and wisdom that was always there, merely obscured by the noise of his busy mind. This is the third essential step in the Lotus Method, cultivating stillness as the foundation for focused action. Gohan begins to understand that stillness, like the roots of the lotus flower buried deep in the mud, provides the essential foundation for growth and blooming, just as the lotus rises through murky waters to blossom in the sunlight. Clarity of purpose emerges from the depths of stillness. As Gohan continues this practice, he notices that the quality of his action changes dramatically. Where before his efforts felt scattered and ineffective, they now carry a sense of purpose and precision. By taking time for stillness, his actions become more powerful and effective. accomplishing more with less effort. Now that Gohan has learned to cultivate awareness, embrace flow, and practice stillness, he's ready to discover how these elements come together in the final phase of the Lotus Method. In our next section, we'll explore how these foundational practices transform into a powerful system for maintaining laser-sharp focus even in the midst of life's greatest challenges. We'll see how Gohan applies these ancient principles to modern problems, creating extraordinary results while maintaining inner peace. Are you ready to discover how these timeless practices can transform your own relationship with focus and productivity? Let's continue our exploration of the Lotus Method and uncover the final pieces of this life-changing approach. Part 4. From Stillness to Action. As we've seen, Gohan has discovered the transformative power of stillness, the foundation of the Lotus Method that allows clarity to emerge from chaos. Now, let's explore how he transforms this inner peace into powerful, focused action. The lotus blooms. From stillness to purpose. Gohan realizes that his challenges, the very things that once caused stress and anxiety, are like the mud that nourishes the lotus flower's growth. Through daily stillness practice, he's not only calmed his restless mind but also developed a steady, unshakable focus when approaching difficult tasks. Now, his mind remains clear and centered, allowing him to move through challenges with a calm, deliberate energy that feels almost effortless. But Gohan soon discovers an important truth: stillness alone, while transformative, isn't enough. He has learned how to calm his mind, a remarkable achievement in our distraction-filled world, but now faces the crucial challenge of channeling that calm focus into meaningful action. After all, even the most profound insights remain merely theoretical until they're expressed through action in the physical world. Part 4. Turning reflection into action. As Gohan continues his practice of stillness, something remarkable begins to happen. His mind, once chaotic and scattered like leaves in a windstorm, transforms into a precision instrument, a tool for laser-sharp focus and clear decision-making. The mental fog that once obscured his path has lifted, revealing possibilities he couldn't see before. During his studies, Gohan encounters the fascinating traditions of the Shaolin monks, masters who didn't just meditate for hours in silent contemplation but also perfected their bodies through rigorous physical discipline. These extraordinary practitioners embodied a profound philosophy: the deep, inseparable connection between mental clarity and physical action. For the Shaolin, one simply could not exist without the other, mind and body forming two halves of a unified whole. This revelation strikes Gohan deeply. His meditation practice has indeed given him unprecedented mental clarity. But now it's time to honor that gift by turning reflection into purposeful action. Much like the Shaolin monks who applied their inner calm to create flowing, precise movements in martial arts, Gohan begins to approach his daily tasks with a new perspective, seeing each activity as an opportunity to express his inner stillness through outer action. Have you ever watched a master craftsperson at work? There's a quality of presence and flow to their movements that seems almost magical. This is what Gohan now aspires to bring to every aspect of his life, approaching each task, no matter how mundane or challenging, with the same precision, purpose, and patience that a Shaolin monk brings to their training. Gohan realizes he doesn't need to tackle everything at once, a common mistake in our multitasking culture. Instead, he can channel his newfound clarity into one action at a time, giving it his complete attention. This approach feels revolutionary in a world that constantly demands we divide our attention between multiple tasks, devices, and responsibilities. The Shaolin monks teach that true mastery emerges from the harmony between mind and body. When the mind is still, the body can act with clear intention and purpose, but when the mind is chaotic, the body's actions become similarly disordered, scattered, inefficient, and lacking power. Gohan sees this principle reflected in his own life. On days when his mind is calm, his actions flow naturally and effectively. On days when his thoughts are turbulent, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Through this understanding, Gohan learns that his stillness practice must translate into focused, intentional action. Meditation without action leads to stagnation, beautiful insights that never bear fruit in the real world. Conversely, action without reflection leads to burnout, constant doing without the rejuvenating power of inner stillness. The key, as in all aspects of life, is balance. The ancient wisdom of the monks reveals to Gohan that when both elements, reflection and action, are aligned, he can achieve far more than he ever thought possible without feeling depleted or overwhelmed. This harmony creates a sustainable approach to achievement that doesn't require sacrificing his well-being. The fourth step in the Lotus Method is therefore action with intention, bringing the quality of meditative awareness into everything we do. Gohan realizes that his ability to succeed doesn't come from frantically doing 100 things at once, as modern productivity culture often suggests. Instead, it emerges from doing one thing at a time with his full, undivided attention. With this understanding, he begins to approach his work, relationships, and personal projects with singular focus, giving each task his complete energy and clarity. The results are remarkable. Tasks he once dreaded now seem manageable, and he moves through them with calm determination rather than resistance and struggle. Gohan is no longer scattered across a dozen half-completed tasks and endless distractions. He's precise and focused, like a Shaolin monk practicing a kata with deliberate, mindful movements, each action flowing naturally from the one before it, creating a beautiful choreography of purpose and presence. But even with this newfound focus and intention, there's one more essential piece to complete the puzzle of the Lotus Method, a quality often overlooked in our fast-paced world that demands immediate results. Part 5. The Lotus and the Art of Patience. Gohan has been making steady progress on his journey. He's learned to calm his mind through stillness and reflection, and he's started to transform that clarity into intentional action. His days have a different quality now, more focused, more purposeful, more aligned with his true goals. Yet as the days and weeks pass, he finds himself growing impatient, Despite his focus and consistent effort, the results aren't materializing as quickly as he hoped. The weight loss is happening, but slowly. His work is improving, but recognition hasn't come. His relationships are deepening, but old patterns still emerge. The frustration builds quietly within him, and Gohan begins to wonder if he's doing something wrong. Is the Lotus Method failing him, or is he failing to apply it correctly? This doubt threatens to undermine all his progress, pulling him back toward his old patterns of resistance and scattered attention. That's when he remembers another profound teaching from the Eastern monks who often spoke about the lotus flower itself, the perfect metaphor for personal transformation. The lotus grows slowly, invisibly at first, pushing its way through thick, dark mud beneath the water's surface long before it emerges as a beautiful blossom. For much of its development, there's no external evidence of the miracle taking place beneath the surface. The monks teach that the true beauty of the lotus lies not just in its eventual bloom, but in its patience, its natural wisdom to honor each stage of growth without rushing the process. It doesn't force itself to flower before it's ready. It blooms precisely when the conditions are right, not a moment sooner or later. Gohan realizes that just like the lotus, he needs to practice patience with his own growth process. The progress may seem slow or even invisible at times, but rushing it will only create resistance and frustration. Nature cannot be forced to move at an unnatural pace, and neither can genuine personal transformation. Have you ever planted seeds in a garden and found yourself checking them daily? Perhaps even digging them up to see if they're growing? Of course, this only disrupts the very process you're trying to accelerate. Gohan sees that his impatience is doing something similar, interfering with the natural unfolding of his growth by demanding immediate, visible results. With this insight, Gohan learns to embrace the slowness of the journey. By letting go of his impatience, his need to see immediate proof of progress, he finds himself more at peace with the natural rhythm of development. Like the lotus flower, he knows that his full bloom will come, but it will happen in its own time, according to natural laws that cannot be rushed. The art of patience becomes his final lesson in mastering the mind. With it comes a profound sense of calm and trust that he had never experienced before, a deep knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Even when progress isn't immediately visible to the eye, your lotus journey begins. So where are you on this journey of transformation? Are you still caught in resistance, fighting against your own nature and the flow of life? Or are you ready to embrace the Lotus Method, this ancient wisdom that has transformed Gohan's life and countless others throughout history? Remember, you don't need to master all aspects at once. Start with just one step, whether it's practicing stillness for a few minutes each day, applying more intentional focus to your important tasks, or learning to be patient with yourself as you grow. Your transformation will come, but like the lotus, it will unfold according to its own perfect timing. The journey of mastering your mind isn't about forcing change through sheer willpower. It's about creating the conditions that allow your natural brilliance to emerge. Just as the lotus needs water, mud, and sunlight to express its full beauty, If this video has given you insights that resonate with your own experience, I invite you to join our community of mindful achievers. Hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss our upcoming videos on applying ancient wisdom to modern challenges. And if you found value in the Lotus Method, share this video with someone who might benefit from these timeless teachings. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and your next step could be the one that changes everything. Let's continue this journey of mastering the mind together, one moment of awareness at a time.